Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing in the Money Talk series where I get to interview so many amazing people that are doing amazing things with their personal finances. And today we have my good friend, France. France, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Josh?
I'm good, I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much, Josh, for having me on your channel. I am really honored. Right now, I am a licensed physical therapist in New York, and I have been working for about 2 years now. I started my YouTube channel also in the personal finance niche or the world in the YouTube world, and I have been making videos since the end of May to early June. Most of my videos, or both of our videos, our channels really focus on student loan debt.
Yours is pretty cool because you've paid off how much? Over $50,000 in 2 years?
So it's almost been 2 years. I think I'm like 2 months shy of 2 years. But
What is your career? How you ended up with student loan debt? Tell me that story.
sure. So for my undergrad, I graduated with my bachelor's in science with a major in exercise science, knowing that I was going into physical therapy school. And for physical therapy school, it's a 3-year grad, and I got my graduate degree in physical therapy. Only I graduated with about $146,000 of student loan debt. And I had to take out the student loan debt because I had to go to graduate school to get the license that I want.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of have to. That's the only choice.
Yeah, so I really had no choice. The only choice that I really did have is whether or not I wanted to go to a private university or to a public university. But at the end of the day, I decided to go private because it was closer to home, and I I think I would rather pay for the name of the school so that I can make better networking connections when I am close to graduating. And it really did help me in the long run.
So tell me, let's go back a little bit, back to your childhood, because I believe that when you are paying off debt, it takes so much out of you. It takes a certain person to actually do it. So how was money talked about when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, we didn't actually really talk about money. The only closest thing that we did when I was younger was always buy things when they're on sale. Like my family had a really frugal lifestyle, but they always provided things for me and for my brothers, and I'm really grateful for that. And so they made sure that we didn't really see the financial struggles that my parents had. But then as I got older, when I was in college, that's when I really understood, like, wow, money plays a huge part. And I was really naive when I was younger. And like I said, as I got older, I was more educated in it. And to where I am now with personal finance, I learned a lot of the things on my own. I think what really jump started my personal finance journey is with a book. It was super easy to understand. I remember when I was in college, I was like, oh, I'm never going to read a personal finance book. They're so dry. They're so boring. You just have to find the right book basics. You don't have to pick up like a textbook to start out with. Like just picking up like a really simple personal finance book can really help you learn a lot with your own personal finances. And so that's how my journey started.
Which book was it?
It was a book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, I believe.
Hmm. Yeah, great guy. I don't know him, but I know of him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how would you describe your relationship with money now versus while you were growing up or in college?
I still struggle with my relationship with money. Sometimes I think when I was younger, I was always like, oh, I make money, I can spend it whenever I want. And then now that I'm older, I'm more cautious of where my money is going. And sometimes I feel like I have this really strict mindset, like I'm making this much money, I cannot spend it on this thing because I have bills to pay, I have my debt to pay towards. So it's like, wait, I'm making this money, so I should be able to spend it. But I also feel really guilty if when I do spend money. So it's hard juggling that balance of, because sometimes if you're too strict with it, then you can also go crazy too, because you have no enjoyment with the time that you're putting and your effort you're putting into your work. So it's like a weird balance for me. But right now I'm trying to have like a easy budget to follow so that I don't feel as guilty.
What made you want to decide that you actually wanted to pay this debt off as soon as possible? Because I'm sure that you have a lot of coworkers or classmates with the same amount of debt and no one's paying anything.
No, they're not. I don't want to live with this debt forever. I have so many goals that I want to achieve, and a lot of these goals also revolve around huge expenses or huge financial decisions, and I don't want my student loan debt to be that limiting factor, to be that thing that stops me from reaching my goals. So I adopted this really aggressive strategy and this aggressive mindset where, all right, let me just get rid of this debt so that later on all my money can be put into my other goals, like maybe buying a house or maybe moving, because those are really big financial decisions. And like I said, I just don't want my debt to stop me from achieving that. So I'm really aggressive with paying off my student loans.
So how are you doing it? Because we're talking about almost $2,000 a month or more.
Yeah, so right now per month, I'm paying $2,300 towards my student loan debt, which is about 2/3 of my after-tax income, which is crazy amount of money to be putting towards your debt. The only way I'm able to do this is because I'm living at home with my parents. Like, I'm so grateful that they have not kicked me out yet. I'm very lucky I'm able to save on my living expenses. And so I'm taking advantage of that, staying with my parents, putting all my money or as much money as I can into my debt so that I can pay off my loans really aggressively.
Did you have any moment that you, like looking back, that you were like, oh my God, I owe this amount of money. What am I going to do? Like, how am I going to handle the situation? Like, when was like oh crap, it hit the fan. What am I going to do?
Yeah, so I think I had that moment after I graduated. So I graduated from physical therapy school, and then I believe I went on vacation as like my last hurrah. And then I came back from vacation and I was like, all right, I need to sit down and buckle and like look at all the numbers. And I was like, holy crap, this is a price of a house in another state. I was like, wow, this is the money that I am responsible for paying back just for this education that I have. And it's like, when I put into perspective of like, wow, $146,000 is a cost of a house. And I'm not owning this house. I was like, wow, it's so much money. And so and that's when I was like, all right, something needs to be done. I have to figure this out.
It's funny because my moment wasn't like that. I took out like, I think it was a 90 something. And it wasn't until it hit, this is ridiculous, but it wasn't until it almost hit 150. That was when my waking moment came to me, because that's when I was like, and then I started doing the numbers, and you know how there's calculators and there's like income-based repayments. Hey, if you do this for 25 years, it was $300,000.
Oh my gosh,
If I were to wait till then.
that's so much.
And I told myself, okay, I'm gonna give you one house, but I'm not giving you two houses. So I really need to do something. That was my shock.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when you're in school, every semester or every time you take out loans, they only give you like, all right, it'll be like 30,000. And then like you never think to put all to total up the whole amount. It's like, oh, 30,000, it's whatever. Oh, 20,000. It's so add it all up. It's a very significant amount of money.
What happens? What is your mentality when you're tired, when you're drained of pain of debt? What keeps you going versus people that give up? Like, there's something different about you. What is your motivation besides your goals? Like, what changes between you and the normal person that's gonna be like, maybe the government will pay this off?
No, first of all, I don't rely on the government with anything because so much can change. But I think with me, I like, even when I was younger, I have this like really aggressive personality. Like when I'm set on something, when I have a goal, when I want to achieve something, when I put my mind into it, I get it done. And not a lot of people have that kind of mindset because of maybe how they were raised, or that's just for wanting to pay off this debt really helps me. And I think another thing that always keeps me motivated is I always go to those like debt payoff calculator, and I'll put in like different amounts. Like, all right, if like right now I'm putting in $2,300 per month, what if I do like $2,500? Like take $200 away from something and put it into my debt. Like how much would how many years would it be until I pay off my debt? And then when I see that the numbers of years shrink, I get so excited, and that's just how I get I go, like I said, I go back to these calculators and I think, all right, let me, like, what is the max amount of money I can put into my debt so that I can be debt free sooner?
So in that sense, what are your thoughts on student loan forgiveness?
I personally, so like I know people who are doing it, and I know there are people who don't really believe in it. I don't rely on the government on forgiving anything because so much can happen within 10 years. And I remember talking to someone in 10 years, there's 2 different presidential changes that can be made, and you just never know what the president can decide to enforce or take away. And to me, I just don't like relying on people for. Like, I went to physical therapy school based on my own personal decision. I shouldn't rely on someone else to handle my debt. Like, I was the one who said, yes, give me this debt. There are some statistics out there that not a lot of people also qualify for the student loan forgiveness at the end of 10 years. So it's like, if only like less than 10% of the people can actually get their loans forgiven, what happens to the 90% of the people who applied? Like, what happens then? Like, I don't want to be part of that potential 90% of people who don't get their loans. It'll be a few years. It'll be less than 10 years, hopefully, by the time I pay off all my debt, and I can just live my life afterwards. I don't want to rely on anyone.
Do you see yourself maybe pausing or shifting mentalities as time goes by, and maybe you'll buy a house or you'll invest a little bit more because you are investing right now?
So I do see myself changing my mindset. I think I will change my mindset when I leave or when I move out of my parents' house. Like I said, like New York is really expensive. And so if I move out and if I start having my own place and own bills and responsibilities, then that it's like a whole other cost. I think when that time comes, I'm going to have to be less aggressive with my debt payoff. But hopefully I don't, like right now, my plan is to not move out until I have like maybe less than $50,000 left of my student loan debt. Because I think at that point, it's like a little bit more manageable than right now. I have like 92,000 and I'm still not comfortable with it. I think when it's like a lower amount, then that'll be when I'm like, all right, I can like do other things. I can figure things out then.
It's this Dave Ramsey mentality, right? And it's like, go, 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 pretty much rice and beans, which I used to be like that. Now I'm like, what happens if I die tomorrow? I need a balance. Like, what made you want to invest?
So investing right now is so important because we have time on our side. Like right now, I'm still in my 20s, so it's a good time for me to start investing and let that money compound over many years to grow. And it's like I'm also trying to like get my brothers to invest as well, but it's like the best time because, like I said, you have time on your side. The money that you invest right now is going to be so much more worth it than investing when you're like 40 or 50, when you don't have that much time. And hopefully I can get to that point where like when I'm ready to settle down or like to retire, I would have like a very comfortable cushion to withdraw from after investing. But I mean, I'm young. I also have, like, when you're younger, you are more likely to lose a lot, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if you're older and then that's when you start investing, you won't be investing in very like high risk. I have much to lose. I'm already in debt. So let me invest.
And has nothing to do with it, but are you the oldest?
I am, yeah.
I'm the oldest too. Hey.
Yeah. Yes, I'm like trying to get my brothers to like invest in everything now because they're young, and I'm like, do it. Let me do everything for you, and you're gonna thank me later on.
As we always talk, right? No one talks about personal finance. I was like, what the heck is a Roth IRA? And I was like 28. When I
Mhm.
started like getting knowledge on all of that, I remember calling my parents from LA and I'll be like, how much do you have? Like, what is your retirement plan? My brother, I would be like, what are you doing? How are you saving
Yeah.
money? So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I like once I learned about like all these personal finance like lingo, I was like, wow, there's so much I don't know. And I'm like, I called up like two of my cousins because they work in finance. I was like, wow, can you tell me more about this? This is like a good decision. Like, what are my other options? It's so interesting. It's like, it's something that not a lot of people learn about until time comes.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's too late.
I know, it's so unfortunate. I really do think that like there should be some like personal finance 101 basics class for everyone when they're in school or when they're in high school.
Oh yeah, I agree. And jumping into that, we're now on the financial YouTube world. And you have a YouTube channel, as you mentioned before. Tell me a little bit more about it. What was the inspiration? And I know you're doing amazing things on it.
Thank you. So I started my channel because it was the pandemic. I was unemployed. I had nothing to do, and I always wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I thought, what is something people can benefit from? And I thought about, so I thought, all right, let me make videos about my student loan debt journey and what I've learned so far. So I started out my YouTube channel with that, and I made a couple of videos about personal finance as well because, like I said, I just wanted to make the information accessible for people who want to learn about it and try to break down this barrier between like fear and access to information. And so that's really what I've been doing. And I'm still making videos, and I love updating people. And it also keeps me motivated on my debt journey. So that's my channel. If anyone is interested in watching, it's called FirecrackerFrance. And yeah, definitely go check it out if that's what you are interested in.
And if you guys want to check it out, there's an interview that France did to me. So I'll link that below as well. So you get to know me this time around.
Thank you so much, Josh, for having me on your channel. And everyone, Josh is doing amazing things with his channel as well. I am so grateful that we met on YouTube because it's like, so you think that you're alone on a debt-free journey, but really you're not. There are so many people out there who are also on this journey as well, and you just need to find the right people. And I'm so glad that Josh and I connected on this. So please go subscribe to Josh's channel, and he is doing great things.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did not pay her to say this. So thank you guys. I'll post down below all her links and information so you can go ahead and follow France as well. France, thank you so much for chatting with me and sharing your journey. I am so excited for everything that's coming up for you, for joining in. Until next one.